Hey everybody, it's Travis from the Berm Show. There's a brand new app called Lower 22 Vets for veterans and active duty military members. This app combats suicide amongst veterans by bringing veterans together. So please go check it out. Sign up is free and it's easy, and there's monthly giveaways. You can find the app on Google Play and Apple Store. So sign up now. Thank you. Awesome. Well, hi everybody. Today we're here with MMA pioneer, UFC legend, multiple-time champ, light heavyweight champion Tito Ortiz. I'm not sure if you like to be called a Huntington Beach bad boy anymore, but because I think times have changed since then.
Yeah, right.
um,
Feels cool. Tito Ortiz. That's cool. But I always know of Huntington Beach bad boys, so it always sticks.
I know it's funny because I think a lot of people like my age and maybe older know you from those days, like fighting and stuff. And I don't want to only harp on that, but like for myself, I know I've become a bigger fan of you the older I've gotten. I've had kids, post-military career for me or life after. Seeing you, how you are with your kids, you're very hands-on, motivational, backing them up 100%, extremely patriotic. So, I mean, at least from outside looking in, you come across as obviously the great fighter you were, the hard work you put in to get to that point. But man, the father figure that you are, I think it's inspirational for a lot of folks. The type of husband you are, stuff like that, how involved you are in with your kids. I think that's something that's kind of rare to an extent these days. You know, a lot of here's a monitor, here's a screen, and that's parenting today. So,
no, I think it's really important. As a adolescent myself, not growing up with parents who told me what to do or how to do it. My father chose drugs over me. My mother got sober when I was 13, and as I got older and I got into wrestling, wrestling was a huge give back to me of just the coaches, the wrestlers' parents that were there. They kind of parented me a little bit and told me what not to do, what to do, how to give me support when I worked hard. Then when I got into fighting, I just saw something that had an opportunity to become one of the greatest. And 5 title defenses. It was just hard work and dedication of doing it. But when I had my first son, Jacob, who's 20 now, come to realize that I don't want to be like my father. I want to be responsible. I want to be present. Tell my kid I love him. I'm proud of him, but give him hard love, and it's important. And I think things are paying off because now he's at ASU. He's had a little bit of freshman problems, of course. Mostly it's about the grades, but with my twin boys, Jesse and Journey, who are now 13, I'm embodying myself, my visualization of a man growing up who's respected that I've done. But for them as kids growing up to, don't steal, respect your elders, open doors for girls, say thank you, sir, thank you, ma'am, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. Just respect values. I think that parents should be teaching their kids. That's important because you're building the character in general for your child. The character that as they become adults, it's a mirror of yourself, hopefully, and you're able to do it the right way. And I never had no guidebook on what parenting was supposed to be. I kind of understood, in the middle of the happy medium of common sense and, doing child development when I grew up. RC not when I went in college, it helped out a lot because you understood the mentality and the mindset of a child growing up from, birth until 5. That's their loving time. 5 to 12 is, more of the rebellion kind of learning process of asking questions and everything. And most parents automatically assume as saying, no, why not no? Because I said so. And that's something I never my kids. It's always been something where I said no and I told them why. I gave the pros, I gave the cons, and let them make a decision for themselves, but kind of steer them the right way to a positive decision, all the way up until, find the adolescence of a child being, 13 to 18, where it's complete rebellion time, where it's like they're the smartest kids in the world and they believe in everything and, they can do everything, and not realizing the backlash of some of the negative stuff they can do or some of the great positive stuff they can do, become pro, that they actually get a lot better, and giving them the support through those adolescents of being good characters, good people, people who love this country. Because You know, as once again, when I grew up, you know, and I became the world champion, it was like, how else do I help to give back? You know, in 2005, 2011, I went to Iraq every year and got an opportunity to see our soldiers, even the young kids who were 18 and just coming over there, just eating chow, and you can see the fear in their eyes, and they're not really sure why they're there, and they just, you know, they're just like, I miss home, and I'm like, well, you know what? Every American back at home, we're very happy that you're here fighting for our country and supporting us, and we support you guys no matter what. And seeing the smile on his face and chasing that kid's life just for that day, you know, give him a little bit of home with just that day. And I'm in Iraq where it's 130 degrees in the summer, and but once again, as the times through those years that I did that, I got to see what this country was about. You know, as I was the world champion, I got to travel the world to see how other countries were ran. You know, maybe not just ran in general as government, but as how the people were. You know, how a lot of governments were just. As I got into politics here in the last 2 years, I got to see how shady a lot of countries were. Got to see how shady a lot of government was. And all of a sudden it bounces back and reflects on America, and it's come the same way these last year and a half. And it bums me out because, you know, at the end of the day, I think about it, and I'm not a rhino, you know, I'm not a Democrat, you know, I'm just a conservative who loves America, who wants great things for the future of my children. And whatever I can do, I'm going to try to help it. And when I was for city council here in Huntington Beach, come to realize that I can't fix the world. And it drives me crazy because my whole life, I've always been told that I couldn't do something. I've been able to do it. This one instance has been one that has really checkmated me of going, I'm getting smashed by these guys. These Democrats are just destroying my name, destroying everything I believe in, and it's starting to affect my children. It's starting to affect my family. It's starting to affect me as a person. And I come to realize I can only control my surroundings. I control my family, my friends around me, and my circle that's around me. No more than that. And I think it helped me a lot from going insane because I wanted to help fix everything. You know, I seen Trump running for presidency. You know, I voted for him. He was the first president I ever voted for. But I support him through those whole 4 years, and he's did amazing things for this country. And now people get to see the backlash of not letting him be the president that he got voted in as he was. And once they say it's a conspiracy theory, is saying that the vote was robbed. Bullshit. It was robbed. Plain and simple. And people don't see that. They're blind. And I understand because they don't want to be wrong. I get it. But at the end of the day, it's about this country. It's about our patriotism. It's about our you know, my three F's, you know, family, faith, and freedom. That's what I want to live by because I've traveled the world. I got to see how the world is. And I want to come back home to this home base that I worked my ass off to get. And, you know, for once in my life, I've actually am not even pondering it. It's a decision now that I'm moving. I'm moving to Florida. I can't get out of here any quicker. I just, our home got robbed last month, and it was over $500,000
Oh, wow.
items and things and money. And it was a big hit for me because, you know, once again, I'm not a multi-millionaire. Yes, I have a lot of assets, but at the end of the day, you know, I still a blue collar worker who works my ass off to chase this American dream. And with the borders being open, the things that have happened over the last year and a half have just turned California into California. It's just turned into just a disgusting state. You know, criminals aren't being prosecuted. Criminals aren't being, you know, arrested. It's just, it makes me shake my head and make me ponder of why would the Democratic Party want to destroy this country? But I get it. I understand it. And at the end of the day, I'm just trying to do my part as a patriot. I do my part as an American, and I pay my taxes. I do everything I possibly can to get my children a bright future, and I'll continue to do it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, but one of the main things I think of, like you were saying, not having, going back to like kind of the beginning, not having a father growing up. My father's kind of the same situation. I know you see, like you hear those stories. A lot of people say like, so you can make it. Like you don't necessarily need a father. You don't need this, but like yourself and others that go through that, that's an outlier. Like that's extremely rare. You're probably one out of 100, 2,000, whatever it is, many people that make it through situations like that. Because I'm sure I lived in Long Beach, so I kind of, when I went to college there, I kind of get a feel of how that area can be. Like you can fall into some traps there. I imagine even back when you were growing up, um, I'm sure there's some things that you ran into. It's like it's easy to pick left and go that way, and then now you're buried forever. And I think as much as it is a success story in a sense that, you know, you were able to get out of that. You found wrestling. Um, it doesn't mean that you don't need a father or a mother. I still, and a lot of people will say like, "Oh, like look, Tito did it." You know, LeBron James did it without a father. My dad did it, but
Tell you, man, there's not so many times I can think of through my wrestling career when I was in high school and when I was in college, or my fight career of UFC, where I wish I had a dad to say, "I'm proud of you, son. I love you and I'm proud of you." I never had that. Kids almost every single day, and it's important because as humans, we need that positive reinforcement. You know, I was able to get it from other other wrestlers, parents, or just friends, or just family that I had in general. But every human being needs a positive reinforcement in their body or in their mind completely, 100%. It just it works because it's either I'm a victim or I'm a victor, and I
yeah,
chose to be a victor. You know, we talk about things, problems that I had as a young kid growing up. You know, drugs were, you know, presented to me at a very young age, and I used. You know, we smoked weed. When I got into high school, we did meth. I got out of high school, I was still on meth, and I was turning to my dad, and
wow,
I had a self-inflicting, you know, like I better change myself or I'm going to be like my dad. And I did that. You know, I changed. I got sober, and life changed completely. I went back to school, got my AA degree, went to get my bachelor's. I got into mixed martial arts, and you know, at the end of the day, it's just being a good man. You know, not being a victim. You know, refuse to be a victim. Refuse to say it's their fault. None of it's never their fault. It's always yourself's fault. When you look in the mirror, you got to be responsible for your actions and take full responsibility of those things. Because if you don't, you're going to be playing the blaming game your whole life and look back and go, damn, I regret playing that blaming game. That's one thing I never done. I never played the blaming game. I want to play the blaming game because I look in the mirror every night, brush my teeth, I look in the mirror, and I got to be responsible and say, Tito, have you done something good today? Have you done something positive? Have you done something to make yourself a little better? Have you done something to make somebody else's life a little bit better? And almost every single day, I guess I can say, yeah. You know, I just try to be a good man, as I said, and it's important to me. I never try to step on anybody to get ahead. I always do the right thing. Um, I don't even want to say even when it's the wrong thing, because every time I do something right, it makes me feel good. It makes my heart feel good, you know. And then try to help. You know, always reach my hand. Always reach my hand out, trying to help people up. And you know, if they pull me down because they can't handle it, I let go. And that's how easy it is for me. And it's kind of straight crazy, but I guess that's just the mentality that I've been growing up on, and how my mentality is just don't be a victim. You know, be a person to believe in success and hard work and dedication and honesty and values and morals. You know, a lot of verbs that really attract to a person's mentality of a positive mindset. And I think that's very, very important.
yeah, and I totally agree, and that's kind of like what the premise what I'm trying to do at my podcast. Essentially, I mean, I'm not sure if you've had time to listen to them, but I've had a lot of veterans on, fellow service members. And I think a lot of us, from the discussions I've had, going back to even like how you were saying, focusing on yourself, all you can really control is yourself, your family, you know, your loved ones, your close friends. And I think, like for myself, I definitely fell into that victim role when I first got out of the military. Like I was blaming my wife, I was blaming my family. I was just like, man, F everybody. And I didn't see like any combat. I was just in the Navy for 4 years, and the transition, that toll was like really hard for me to wrap my head around. And
Yeah.
so, like you said, that I got to that point. There's a point where I really looked in the mirror, like you were saying, and it's like, man, this is not the man I want to be. And I really had that moment, and I discussed that with one of the individuals I had on here. I kind of went back to myself at 18 years old. It's like, man, would that person that joined the military be proud of the person I am today? Because I felt like I was letting that excited 18-year-old kid who was eager to join the military, go see the world. I was laying that person down, you know, and that's a real hard thing, I think, for anybody in any walk of life. I know there's a lot of talk around veterans and that type of depression or PTSD or suicidal type thoughts, but I think that's a lot of people deal with that stuff, you know. Like you're saying, you started using drugs. It was easy. It could have been really easy for you to just stick on that path, not find wrestling, or even when you got older, I'm sure you've had those moments where you look in the mirror like, all right, today I gotta, like you're saying, help people be you could always be a better father. That's what I always tell myself. Like, today I was a great dad, but tomorrow I could be an even better dad. And those moments are hard to have, or not necessarily hard, but you can make them hard if you make them hard, essentially. So yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying on that. It's important to understand what you can control, what you can't control. I've been the same way where I've offered help to a fellow person, whether it's a coworker, a veteran, and if they're not willing to put in the work to get help, or if they just blow me off, it's like, all right, dude, and there's somebody out there that will make time, put in the work, and it's just as easy for me as you were saying. I'm not sure if it's the way I was raised. My dad's got a very similar mindset to yours. It's easy for me to be like, shut you off. Okay, I tried. If you're serious, you know where to get me. But for now, there's somebody else out there that really is seeking this help, and that's kind of my motivation now. And I'm sure motivations like that for you is why you ran for city council.
Yeah, I tried to help Huntington a lot, and I was getting shot down left and right every week. It was just some different story of lying about me. It was crazy because I got the most votes in Huntington Beach history, which, knowing that's a very conservative city,
Mhm.
and to see the left on the other side, and it's at the city level, 100% at the city level, it's at the level, and it was mind-boggling. It was emotionally draining, and I never got an opportunity to get on my feet to express what I wanted to do for the city, and come to realize I blew it. I should have never went city level. I should have went for governor right off the bat,
Mhm.
and I would have made some huge changes. One of my friends, BJ Penn, is running for governor in Hawaii, and he has a huge opportunity to win. But once again, at the end of the day, it's about bringing it back to the people, and the people that make the decisions are the ones who pay the taxes. They're the ones who are working their asses off to pay for their families, for their bills, and putting the money in these politicians' pockets, and paying for them. But right now it seems like the country's been their feet swept from underneath them, and we have no control. And it's scary because I know a lot of veterans, because I do a lot of work with Real Warriors Foundation. You can check it out, of course, at realwarriorsfoundation.com. And we take them out fishing overnight. And we do anywhere from 15 to 30 guys, and we take them on the water, go bluefin fishing or tuna fishing, yellowtail fishing, and just get to talking to them. Some of the trips are dry trips, so none of the guys can drink. Other trips, we do have good drink beers and so forth, but just get to sit down and talk with them one-on-one. And I've had an opportunity to help out a couple guys seriously that have reached out to me, and I give my number, and I'm like, hey, if you have any problems, if you ever have any ideas of just doing something stupid, call me before you do anything. And all of them have always called me, and it's been great because a lot of them have reached back out to me and told me, Tito, you've saved my life. And I go, no, I'm not taking no credit. It's not me. It's you. You're the one that saved your life because you understood just right from wrong, and see the values that you hold in your heart as a soldier. And then now you're bringing it back and going, wow, I got to be responsible for my stuff instead of someone have a colonel or a captain telling you guys what to do. You got to take responsibility for your actions and do it yourself and do it the right way. And so it's just, it is a positive mentality of just getting these guys on their feet, especially a lot of veterans who come back from war, and some guys who have been behind the lines of fire, and even the ones that haven't, that have been institutionalized over the last 6 years of the time they've served, of, eat at a certain time, eat lunch at a certain time, eat dinner at a certain time, do their work. And that's their everyday job, wake up, eat, sleep, train, repeat, pretty much. But when you go into normal life as this, all of a sudden you have all this freedom. And you everything you want, you're like, shit, what am I going to do with myself? I'm used to waking up at 6 a.m. for chow. It's like, God, it's 8 o'clock. But once again, you just got to get in that schedule of doing the right things to keep your mind clear. And a lot of guys that helped me out a lot during my fight career was writing things down, stuff that bothered me, stuff that was just a buildup, and it just felt like I was like a kettle of hot water just starting to steam to boil. I was like, every week it got worse and worse and worse. I was like, God, I'm going to go crazy right now. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to start writing my ideas down. It's not even thinking about writing a book or writing complete sentences, just anything that came to my mind at that time, and I wrote it down. It seemed like I was releasing a lot of anger. It seems like I was releasing a lot of emotions that were in my mind and my body that I couldn't express. So when I wrote it down, it helped out a lot. And I've given this advice to a lot of other veterans, a lot of other my friends, and they text me back going, Tito, man, this has actually helped me the last month and a half because I've been able to express myself on paper. And then when I read it over, I'm actually trying to find the solutions to those problems. And I think that's really important for any human. You don't even have to be a veteran, and I mean, just any human who's going through society right now, feel like that they're having problems and they need help. Little small things like that do help. Reading positive books helps out a lot also. But I think once again, one of the biggest things that helped me was writing things down, man. It helped me through a lot of camps that I was injured and I had to fight no matter what, and people didn't know what I was going through, and I was just like, man, I'm just gonna get through this, and I got through it, and I looked back and I was like, wow, that was a huge learning experience for me. So,
Yeah, I think that's exactly how it is, because I think it is universal. That anxiety, that feeling of like one of the last veterans I spoke to on here, he said he felt like an alien, basically, like he dropped. He's like, I didn't know what to do, and everybody that I've talked to that was in the military, different branches so far. There's been Army, Air Force, and Marines I've talked to, and it's that initial morning when you wake up. I know for me, it was like I woke up and I was the next day. It's like, okay, I have no alarm. I don't have to shave. I don't really have to do any. That was like the weirdest first day. I mean, just that whole like, what the hell do I do with myself type feeling. And then traveling the world and then coming to California when I was living in San Diego at the time when I got out, and then going to school there for a junior college and seeing, kind of piggyback on what you said earlier, you travel the world and you come back and you kind of see how ungrateful of our society is. And I've been to some countries where I'm just like, holy crap, people live here like that's, I feel bad for them. I mean, they're like peeing in the middle of the street. They're, you can't do this, you can't do that because you'll get caned, you'll get thrown in jail, you can't be out past a certain time. It's like, and then you come here and our biggest issue is, oh, that person said something mean to me on Twitter. It's like, oh my God, like that's going to ruin your day. If you just knew how bad other people had it or have it in general, children, I mean, husbands, wives, kids. And I've never really thought about it till just now. I guess maybe that's part of the transition part for me that was really hard. I guess is like wrapping my head around going to school and hearing like some of them were about my age because I was 22 when I got out. They're saying, "Oh, my dad's not going to help paying for rent," or "Man, how am I going to do this?" I'm just like, "Man, you have no self resolve, and you're like an adult, man. Like, grab it. You got to." I don't know. That's just how I am wired. If I run into an issue, you work hard. You gotta figure out how to do it. Everybody today, and not everybody, I'd say a majority of at least how society is portrayed on the news and through social media is that everybody gets something. Everybody, here's a handout.
here's
You
a
know,
hand.
you get fifth place, you still get a trophy. You get your last place, oh, you still get a medal. Oh, you worked hard, but you didn't finish in the top three or finish first, whatever it is. And that's kind of like what freaks me out as a father. In today's society, I'm sure it did with you, but you're really hands on, and I think that's part of the importance of having um, like a parents are there and present as much as possible. It's when your kid doesn't win. I mean, you've experienced losses. It sucks, but man,
It makes you the person you are. You want to build from it. You want to be successful next time. If you didn't get an award every time you compete, that's not real life. That's not real values to teach a child. And once again, my kids wrestle, they do jiu-jitsu, and they've been in tournaments where they placed the top five. And there's only 5 kids in the weight, and I was like, wait a second. I go, no, you placed top 3 at the most. You don't place the top 5. And there actually has been times that I told my kid to go turn the medal in. I go, no, you go turn the medal in. You didn't win a match today. He's like, what do you mean? I go, nope, you got to turn the medal in. Then years later, he's like, Dad, I remember when you told me I couldn't have that medal because I didn't win a match. And then I won my next 3 matches. I'm very thankful you told me that because I would have said that would have been easy. And I realize it how our society has been weakened over the last 30 years. I mean, because I think about it when I was, 16, even before that, 10, 11 of the Reagan eras. And it was love America and work hard for it. And there's no handouts in life. And that's setting up a person to be successful and an entrepreneur, someone who wants to work hard for things, compared to the opposite side of the coin where they're getting handouts, government cheese, food stamps, because I lived on that as a kid. And I was like, I don't want that. That's not something that I want to be comfortable with. And I want to be successful. I want a nice house. I want a nice car. And yes, some materialistic things, but these are goals that I've set in life that I've been able to achieve because I want to show my children these same things. And that's what I do. You know, I like just the last 4 days, they're doing lemonade stands from 10 a.m. till 7 p.m. I mean, they're putting in 9-hour days and, you know, they're making decent money. They're making $100. And they're like, Dad, why didn't we do this before? I was like, every summer you can do it. But putting everything together, you know, but they put it on a little, wagon. They put everything together. They mix the stuff. They get the ice. They make sure and put it in a clean bag. And these just little small things that they do. And all of a sudden they want to make extra signs. And they're like, hey, Dad, you think if we invest in these chips right here, we can sell chips too? I'm like, yes, you can. And so I was like, they're coming up with these ideas on themselves. And it's good to see this that a 13-year-old kid could go out there and can make $100 a day by working 8 hours or 9 hours during the day. And it's once again, I'm trying to mold these into men where, you know, they're 18 and they're on their own. They can take care of themselves. And yes, I'll be there and yes, I'll help. But I want to make sure they understand that they got to work for themselves. I'm gonna help them the first time. The second time, I'll kind of slap them on the ass good. Third time, it's all on them. You made that mistake 3 times. You got to learn from these mistakes. Mm-hmm. And once again, it's just doing it the right way as a father, because I never had that taught to me. I had to learn these things by watching movies, you know, I love and, you know, anger and things like this I had to control by learning about just watching films, like being a good man and what type of life I want for myself, what type of family I want for myself. And instead of someone telling me how to do it, or not telling me how to do it, but forcing me to do it, or, you know, saying that's not the right way to do it and you're too hard on your kids. I'm like, no, because when you get out the real world, that real world will eat you alive. You know, I take my kids on vacation with me, and one of the times I went to Thailand for a month and I went to go train, and you know, we're in Phuket and there's a scooter going by and there's like 6 kids and a mom, and all the kids didn't have shoes on. They had shorts on and that was it. And my boys look at me like, Dad, how come they don't have shoes? I go, son, they can't afford them. Like, what do you mean? They can't afford them. I go, they can't afford shirts. They can't afford that stuff. I go, he goes, oh, but they don't have a helmet on or anything. I go, they can't afford it. I go, that's how this country is. Everything is super cheap. Most families can't afford things. So, wow, I never thought of it like that. And I've done the same thing in Mexico. I've taken Mexico to the same thing. You know, I'll go down to the Costco and go buy, you know, like $1,000 worth of stuff of just soap, toothbrushes, toothpaste, you know, deodorant, laundry soap, maybe some soccer balls. And we go and give it out, and the kids are like trying to grab it for my kids, and my kids are handing it out because I want to show them, you know, to be given. And my son looks at me and he's like, Dad, the kids really don't want the soccer balls. I thought they want the soccer balls more than anything. What they want is the toothbrushes. I go, see, you got to brush your teeth every day. It's super important. Hygiene is the most important thing in a human being, and you got to take care of yourself. So giving these values to my kid and showing them how life truly works and how it is. I wish I would have learned that. And I didn't learn it until I was much older, but still, I want to teach my kids these same values of knowing that everything can be taken away in a blink of an eye, and you got to work for things. Nothing's free. People said it was free. Oh, you got a free vaccine. You got free this. You got free that. Nothing's free. Someone's paying for that. Someone's to come back on you. You got to pay for it, or your taxes are going to go up, or something's going to happen behind that. That people understand. Nothing is free in this world. Someone has an agenda behind them, no matter what, to execute and make it happen. And sad right now that a lot of things are being executed is just not the American way. It isn't. It really isn't.
Yeah, I think we've lost sight of kind of our, man, I know people are gonna be like, oh my God, I can't believe he's even saying this, but like our core values in a sense, you know, it's always been, that's how I was raised. The same way you're raising your boys. It's, you know, you wake up, you work your ass off. If you want something, the only person that could stop you from attaining anything, as I've gotten older, I've learned this, is yourself. If I want to be the best sales rep or sales manager, guess what? I'm going to put the work in. And if I want to be the best engineer, you can't do that by sitting on your ass and hoping somebody just gives you something, because that's not how it works. And I was telling my wife this actually last night. I was like, that's what kind of scares me with sports today. Kind of quickly going back to that, is like how everybody gets a trophy, because growing up, sports was, to me, like the closest to the real world as now looking back at it as an adult, being like, if you don't practice, you're not going to get better. You're going to lose, and losing sucks. Um,
Yes.
like I've had my dad when I played basketball. He's like, if you want to get better, you got to start dribbling with your left hand. You can't just dribble with your right hand. So I was like, oh crap, okay. So hours just sitting there bouncing the ball with my left hand. Now I'm good with both. And but that little bit of motivation, discipline, that's what gets you to the next level. I mean, and that's just like basic success or basic accomplishment or goal accomplishment in a sense. And now there's the extreme sides to that where you got, like you always hear the stories of like Kobe and Jordan and like Tom Brady and stuff, or even after a win, they're watching film for like 12 hours that same night. It's like, okay, that's not everybody, but generally, if you want to succeed, yeah, you just got to put the work in.
For
I was
sure.
telling one of the guys this before. I was like, one of the things I've realized the 10 years I've been in the military now. I was telling my best friend this, who just got out of the Navy, actually. I was like, you'd be surprised how easy it is to outwork a civilian. That's what I told him. I was like, it's really easy. And man, people are going to get pissed I say that, but I think it is at least 8 out of 10 of them. I feel confident saying that I can really, if we were to go clock in at the same time, I could outperform them in a shorter amount of time and probably do more at the end of the day. Because there is like that whole sense of growing up, and they're just a majority of them are, especially my age, this I'd say like 18 to 30 age group that I'm kind of in, is where you're just given things. You're not expected to have to work hard. It's just given. And like I've been at Phuket, like you were saying, that place is. I saw a Thai fight there.
For sure.
I saw a Thai fight there. We went and we paid like $5 and we sat right by the cage, and it was little kids starting it off. I was like, what the hell they were, I'm talking maybe 6, 7 years old. And kind
Savage.
of like you're saying, that's their families probably saying, hey, you got to make us some money because they're selling shirts. I bought like, you get like bargain with them. They're just asking for anything,
Yeah.
and it is sad when you do come home and you see the current state of where we are now, especially. It's like, man, it's sad. Like you're saying, your boys are handing out stuff and everybody want the toothbrush more than the soccer ball. And
Yeah.
that's a reality for a lot of people. And I don't think most Americans truly can grasp that. We think we have it so rough. And I also think it's possible that happens because our country gets so bored. Like
Yeah.
we got so much stuff that we're so bored all at the same time. And I think that's where like foreigners come here and they're like, oh my God, look at everything you guys have. How are you bored? You guys have computers, you guys got TVs in every room, you guys
You got
got
running water.
yeah,
Yeah.
running water, you got cars at work, you're not piling on a bike like you were saying with your mom and like 5 other kids. It's like you guys got vans, SUVs, like everybody can fit. And like I think that's what like you see these when the immigrants do come through the correct process way, and they become American citizens and they're so grateful. And I
Yes.
always think, man, if we were to get just a regular American to like listen to their story, how wherever they've come from and how grateful they are to be here, what a difference that might be for that individual. Hopefully it wouldn't fall on deaf ears. You can, be
And
like,
then
wow.
that's one of the things too. And I sit there with the borders being open right now. There's over 2.4 million people that have came over the last 2 years, well, year and a half. Because I know people on the border, I know sheriffs on the border, and things that are happening. Just last week, I was at LAX, and there was a guy who came from Cuba, and he came from the border, and they gave him a card, they gave him a little credit card. And he's like, he's traveling to DC, and he's trying to explain to me what's happening on the river down there in the border. And he's saying that there's families that are crossing and tying their kids on ropes next to them. And as they're going, if they fall off the rope, they're done because the water comes up to their neck and they got to swim across.
Oh
And the family member lose somebody, the current's ripping them apart, and it's like there's nothing that can be done. And all the cartels are the one who's running everything. People think the border patrol are doing shit. They're not doing the job they could be doing because their hands are tied from the administrations that's in there. But they're trying to do the best job that they can. But the cartel is what's running everything down there right now. And they're getting people pushed over, families pushed over, making money, drugs are getting pushed over. But the people trying to come over here to do the right thing, as this guy was, he goes, I want the opportunity to live this American dream, and I have the opportunity to do it. You know, I don't want to steal for things. I want to make sure I work for it. And that's just the type of people. I mean, even on the Mexican side, you know, because I'm half Mexican, is a lot of guys that I see that do come over here that are selling oranges on the side of the street. They're working. They're not
Yep.
begging. That's one thing you don't see a lot of Mexicans doing. Is there's none of them that beg at all. They're hardworking, and I wish I can get the group of Mexicans that are honest Mexicans that want to come to America, and get all the people that are ungrateful and hate America and take them out and transplant these guys back in who are hard workers. The people who believe in faith, who believe in freedom, who believe in family, who believe in things that a conservative person has the same ideas. You know, and it's this whole cut down the middle of Republican versus Democrat. It's bullshit. I call it bullshit. I say at the end of the day, it's American. It's patriotism. This is stuff this country's been built on, and to separate people and divide them the way they have is just, it's nonsense. And the people that do come over from other countries, hopefully they don't come here and try to vote on the Democratic side and saying, well, they let us in. Well, no, you're going to turn it exactly into the country that you came from if you continue voting that way. So I think this year, 2022, should be a huge red wave, and I hope people have the common sense and just right ethnicity, or excuse me, right ethics in their mind of really helping this country. Because if we lose this midterm, I don't know if we're going to survive for another 2 years, and that's scary. It's a hard thing to say. It's very heart wrenching because of my children, but it's gotten worse and worse. The inflation's gotten worse and worse. The gas prices are through the roof. Foods are just it's becoming a communist country. It's becoming that right now, and I don't know what's the next step. I really don't. Besides going in and voting and telling my friends to vote, telling my family to vote the right way, and vote red. It's important, and register to vote. It's important. And I don't know if they can pull a scam off two years in a row, or 4 years in a row, but we can try. It's important. I just there's so much stuff that has happened in the last 2.5 years that I almost feel hopeless. But then I realized that the strongest thing in your mind that you have is hope, and the willing to knowing that there can be change with positive reinforcement and positive mentality. And the change can happen within your own home, after your own home, happen within your family, after your family, happen within your city, to your state, and to the country. And it feeds off that. We feed off of positive emotions, positive reflections of how we want the future to become. And it's in our hands as Americans. And I think everybody needs to collaborate and be together and bring it back to we the people, because that's what's important right now, more than ever in my lifetime. I'm 47, and never in my lifetime I've ever seen the way we are right now, and it's scary. I want to keep my kids as not secluded. I think protected as much as possible. This whole critical race theory, this whole sexual ed shit they're doing. I want to keep my kid away from that stuff. My kid didn't understand what an African American kid was until they were 5 years old, because we don't talk about race. What we talk about is a person's character. We judge them by their character, who they are, and how they act, and how they treat others. We don't judge by a person with the color of their skin. That's wrong. I've always known that to be wrong. And when I was on city council here in Huntington Beach, every single week they call me a white supremacist. I'm like, my name is Tito Ortiz, right? These people just don't get it because they watch, was it mainstream media, and what mainstream media says, that must be true. That must be true. Instead of going and doing their research and understanding what's happening behind closed doors, that people will never understand. And the best thing I've ever done in the last 2 years, I think ever, is turn the news off. I don't watch the news. I refuse to watch. People are like, oh, where do you get your information from? I go to conservative channels and podcasts, and I listen to people's opinions. And this is what America's truly about, of freedom, right? You listen to different people's opinions, and you have your own opinion about something. And even if you're right or wrong, you still have that opportunity of having that opinion. And I think that's really important. Right now, it's being lost with this cancel culture of people like myself and other actors or fighters. If they speak up and say how proud they are about being Americans, it's like all of a sudden they get canceled. All of a sudden they have an opinion, they get canceled. They find out some information about the so-called pandemic, and they get canceled. And it happened in time. My Instagram, Tito Ortiz 1999, got taken away from me. I had 375,000 followers. I had to restart it all over again. Now it's Tito Ortiz IG. I'm like at 7,000 followers now. But I had to rebuild everything again. It's like I worked so hard to build that, and yes, I make money off that because I'm able to promote people's brands. I'm able to promote my own brand. I'm able to go out and do signings, promote that, and it got taken away from me. So I got to restart, and I get it. I'll restart. That's fine. I've been on the bottom of the barrel before, and I'll grind to get back up to the top. And that's life. That's the American dream. You gotta understand, and I can imagine you understand. I'm a lot of people or viewers understand themselves, and it's just, treat people the way you want to be treated, and work hard for it, and dedicate your life and yourself to give your family everything you never had or everything you do have. And I'm fortunate to do that for my children, and it's important. But like I say, at night when I go to bed and look in the mirror, I got to be responsible for my actions. When I put my head to go to sleep, I have a smile on my face and I'm happy. I don't think, actually, I don't think, I know for a fact I never got over on anybody. I never have to look over my shoulder. And I think that's the way to live life the right way.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of guys that I've looked up to through my career that I've read books and, just listen to the conversations they've had, like Muhammad Ali, Bruce Lee, guys like Hulk Hogan, and even like some philosopher guys that I've really been able to read up on and so forth, and kind of just pick little small snippets and ideas and just mindsets that they've had and kind of join them together. And I guess it kind of makes me the man I am today. A lot of decisions that I made too that made me the man I am today, or if not, I would be standing right here, or sitting right here. I think there's 3 choices in my life: either dead, in prison, or where I am right now. And I think I've been very fortunate to be where I am right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, definitely like a success story, like I was saying earlier. And one of the things that I definitely noticed too that you brought up is being like patriotic or having any patriotism. It's weird how that, as my wife and I were joking about this, and it's sad that's like we're joking about because it's become a reality. Like, it's almost associated like with, oh, you are a supremacist or you're a racist, or it's almost you can't it's you're too patriotic is what I've seen. Like I was watching a video on you or Instagram one time about that. Somebody's like going around asking somebody like, "Oh, what do you think when you see like an American flag on somebody's shirt?" They're like, "Oh, I automatically think they're hardcore conservative or they're racist." Or I'm like that. Like, not how crazy. Like when I first heard that this was before my wife and I started talking about it. I was like, "That's the craziest freaking thing I've ever heard." Like, I to live in America and, think when somebody is proud to be from America, um, to think
This
that's a negative.
the
It's
programming that media does. It's the programming. They program people to think this way, to have the victim mentality that you can't be patriotic. And that's all bullshit lies. People turn off the news and you'll see how much positive your life is. Or watch the news and write every story down that they have. And I guarantee you 95% of those stories that they put are negative stories. They're
yeah,
negative ideas that are trying to just get people conditioned to believe these things. And all of a sudden, once you believe that, then you believe everything they say, and you've lost. And it's really just mind blowing of the things that people believe.
mhm.
I get it now. I talk to my wife. I'm like, babe, are this many people that stupid? Oh, no, babe, that's not what it is. I go, okay. And she goes, I go, what is it then? She goes, not the fact that people are stupid, is that they're too lazy to confront somebody about the truth. And they just don't want to be wrong. They'd rather they'll die in their grave being wrong before saying that they were wrong. And I'm the total opposite. It's like, if I'm wrong, I'm like, you know what? Actually, you know what? I'll take that back. I was mistaken. I'm wrong. And that's taking responsibility for my actions. And a lot of people don't do that. And it's like, all of a sudden, as being a patriot, I'm it's just an enemy of the state or enemy of the country. Like crazy, mind blowing stuff. And it's like all these people, it's like, you guys don't understand what's happening. If you guys can't see the writing on the wall, you're never going to see it. And I don't know. I mean, maybe this year people woke up. I think a lot of people got awakened after 2020 and they got to see what's really going on. There were so many things that I questioned, and to come back that they were spoiler alerts. They weren't conspiracy theories. They were spoiler alerts
Yeah,
because it came out to be true. And it's mind blowing. And once again, people say don't talk about politics, and now I know why. If you don't talk about politics, then people never question anything. Once you start talking about politics, people are going to start questioning things. They're going to start asking why. Where's this going? Where's that going? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Now, if no one talked about it, then hey, we can get away with this one at midnight. We get away with this one at 3 a.m. And people aren't going to know because they don't care. They're afraid to talk about it because their brother is going to hate them for talking about that, or their mom's going to hate them for talking about this. And it's like, people don't understand. That's how we, the people, came together. People questioned everything, and they wanted to know the reasons why. I want to know the reasons why of a lot of things that have happened over this last year and a half, and come to realize I just had to use common sense, and I got the answers.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, I think that a lot of it is laziness, and like you said, you read a lot, you pick things from things you're reading, and a lot of people, because I've heard two ends of or that counter argument to that. I always thought it was funny because I went to school to be a history major, so I've read a lot of old stuff and formulated opinions and written papers throughout college on those opinions based off what I read. And I've also heard people say, well, like, oh, so it's not your own idea. It's like, well, almost any idea you have isn't 100% your own idea in today's world. A lot of what your core values as a person is based on maybe your parents, how you're raised, or your brothers, your siblings, whatever it is. Same thing with reading. If you read a lot growing up or you watched a lot of TV, whatever your source of information is, that's your some of that is without you maybe even thinking it, you're soaking that in and you're formulating your own opinion, your own way to tackle an issue that might be based on something you did read. And that's why it always cracks me up. People say like, oh, so it's not your own thoughts. But as I've gotten older too, I've realized that's because a lot of people like to, I'm sure you've experienced this, like you're saying, your city council, when you're successful, people like to tear down successful people more than ever in our society. Like I was watching a thing, this is an old video, but it was a LeBron James one. He had, I think, lost in the finals, and the reporter asked him, like, how does it make you feel that people are going to be happy that you failed? I'm like, man, first off, like, I just don't understand. I guess maybe as a fan, you're like, oh, the team lost. You're happy the team lost, but to like be happy somebody failed at something, like
Well,
that's the opposite of what we're trying to do.
that comes down to a lot of people that are afraid to try. That are afraid to try to do something after they fail. They fail once and they're done.
Mm-hmm.
I can't count the times that I failed at something and I continue to try. And I could go all the way back to fishing. I mean, I first started fishing at 6, and I caught my first bonita and I lost it, and I was so pissed. But I was like, you know what, put another bait on, cast it out again. Then I got another one, I lost them, and I was like, put another bait on, cast it out again. Then I finally got one, and then I cast it out again. And the seal bit off half the body, and I started crying. I was like, my fish got bit in half. But all the way up through my life, I've had those problems. In training, when I started wrestling, it was like my freshman year, I got beat up here like almost every single day, but I came back for more. I came back for more. I came back for more, and I got better. And all of a sudden, before that year was over, I was starting varsity because I put in the work. And in fighting, same situation. In business, the same situation. I failed and I didn't achieve the numbers I was trying to achieve. I'm like, shit, how can I fix that? I will go back, go to the drawing board, and I said, okay, I need to put more here, this, and change completely. But I was able to adapt myself to that time and that place of feeling what it felt like to lose and coming back and prevailing. I mean, every time I fought Frank Shamrock, lost the world title against him. My next fight against Vanderlei Silva, I won the world title. And that's only after a year and a half of competition in mixed martial arts. But once again, it was in that mentality in my mind of knowing if I work as hard as I possibly can. During that time, Korn, which is a rock band, was huge.
Yeah.
They were traveling and they were asking if I wanted to come with them. I was like, no, I'm training for this fight. It's important to me. My friends going to Playboy Mansion. Like, hey, man, you want to come with me? I'm like, no, I got to train. I got to sacrifice. And it becomes a sacrifice, discipline, the things that I've been able to achieve in my life that came off of those. Once again, discipline, sacrifice, and determination. I've had those things through my life that I'm able to look in the mirror once again. I mean, this is, I tell this to you guys over and over again, because what do you do every morning you get up? You brush your teeth and look in the mirror. What do you do before you go to bed? Hopefully, you brush your teeth and look in the mirror. I mean, I know a lot of dirty people out there, but this is something that I do for my children, I do for myself. But I have myself to look at. I don't have a big entourage behind me. I'm looking at myself, I'm looking at me, and people say, oh, maybe you're a little crazy. for talking to yourself. No, actually, you know what? I want to have my conscience checked. I want to make sure that I understand that, you know, I'm a man of myself. You know, God gives me the opportunities to work hard and work for these things. So I'm going to take advantage of it as much as possible. And it's something that I chose. God didn't choose it for me. I chose it for me. And it was something that I was able to, you know, every once in a while, when I do win, I say thank you, you know, and when I lose, I say why. And I get the answer that maybe I should have traded a little harder here. I should have sacrificed a little more here. And I've been able to learn from those things. And it's all a learning process. Life, it's a learning process. It's important.
And I'm sure you even experienced that. I know I have in like wins I've had in life where there's moments I even look back and I'm like, man, I could have still done something a little bit better. Even though like I've had that with college specifically because I almost flunked out and then I started really killing it, made the dean's list, and I even thought like, man, I could have done this. I should have done this before. Like, why did it take so long? Why did I like? It's not that hard if I just put the work in. I read the books and I study and I write really good papers. Take the time to do it. And so I know a lot of people always say like, oh, you learn a lot from losing, but there's still a lot that can be learned from winning. I
Right.
truly believe that, and I'm sure you know exactly what I mean. I'm sure you've had some massive wins in the octagon outside of it, where you're still like, man, if I would have done that even different, this one little thing different, I could have probably performed better, or I could have made that business decision sooner and made more money off of it sooner, or been helped them make more, whatever that case is, you know. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people they like you're saying they fail and then they just quit. It's like, okay, but you could still learn from it. But man, once you start winning, you still learn. People, I think, don't understand. When you're winning, you still learn so much. You learn about yourself a lot, like what it takes to win for starters, because you know how it is to lose. You know how you lost. I'm sure you've had that moment too, where you're like,
I,
man,
I've
I
had
probably
my,
shouldn't have fought with that back problem or that neck problem. I probably shouldn't have done that, or maybe I'm not sure how your diet was, but maybe it's like I shouldn't have had that burger, you know, like 2 weeks before the fight type deal. I know I've had that when I was in the military. It's like, man, maybe I shouldn't have that extra beer last night because I know I got to work 16 hours and I'm
yeah.
hungover and I'm on the flight deck and it's like, oh
Well, that's
man, the
what
heat.
I do is just sacrifice it. Willing to sacrifice. You know, for a camp for 3 months before the fight, I don't drink at all. I
Mhm.
don't go out. All I do is eat, sleep, train, repeat. That is it. And with having kids now, I got to put the family time into it. You know, I'll be competing again this year. I believe in October. And you're talking about wins and losses. You know, I can think of the loss against Frank Shamrock. It was probably the biggest loss of my life, and I was just like, this sucked. How do I was winning the whole fight, and then all of a sudden I lost. It was like, how do I get back to this? And then I won the fight, and then I went through my career of having five title defenses. Um, Getting to 2011 and my last fight at the UFC. If I'd have lost this fight, my career at the UFC would have been done. I had 3 fights left still on my contract, were multi-million-dollar fights. I was against Ryan Bader, and I was 8-1 underdog. I was with my ex at the time. We lived in the same house, slept in the same bed, and she was negative the whole time and just telling me how I'm a horrible father I am, what type of horrible man I am, and I started believing it. And that's one thing with toxic relationships. People can understand if you try to survive in that mentality, you're gonna get sucked into it because negative will always take advantage of yourself, take advantage of you if you let it. But
Mhm.
I didn't talk to her at all for 8 weeks. Not a word. We slept in the same bed. Not a word to each other. I just was got my kids to school, came back, trained, picked my kids up from school, went back, trained, and that was for 8 weeks. I did that against Bader. I remember doing interviews and people saying, "So the press was asking me, so Tito, what are you gonna do after this fight? I mean, are you like do commentating? I mean, uh, we know you're not gonna win." I'm like, well, what are you talking about? I'm gonna win this fight. They're like, no, really, really. I go, no, I'm gonna win this fight. And I remember hitting him with was a right uppercut, hit him with a right uppercut and dropped him, got him in a choke. And I just remember thinking in my mind, is like, do not let go for anything. And I was squeezing so hard that John McCarthy literally grabbed his thumb underneath my neck and pulled me off. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot we're in a normal competition fight here. But there's no gratifying feeling like that in the world. And I thought back a bit, it was like, what made the difference there? And what made the difference was the positive mentality, having a positive mindset. And I steered away all the negative stuff away from me. And all I thought about was me winning, me getting my hand raised, me doing the grave digger and collecting my money after the fight. And restart my life, and I did that. You know, I restarted my life, and it's been what, 11 years now. Um, Over the last almost 9 years, I've been with my wife. It's the most greatest feeling in the world. It's great to have a team player like my wife who's has the same mindset as me with her children, about our country, about life in general, about what type of person you're supposed to be. And it's great to have that. You know, have the support from her is something I always wanted as a kid. You know, I never had a family. I wish I would have had that. I'm starting a new generation in my family. And my children know what love is. They know what respect. They know what values. You know, and they know how to be gentlemen. And it's important. And once again, this is my job. They didn't want to be brought into this world. I wanted them here. So now it's time for me to be responsible and be present for them. Like I say, tell them you love them, but give them hard love. Hard love is important for sure. And it's just repetition, doing stuff over and over. Literally, they're 13 years old. I still got to tell them if they brush their teeth. You guys brush your teeth? They're like, yeah. I go, come here, let me smell your breath. They're like, well, I'm not done yet. I was like, oh, okay, go brush your teeth. I got to do it every day. And I know a lot of parents are like, that's hard to do every day. No, it's not. It takes 2 seconds, 3 seconds. You know, check in their homework. Make sure their homework's turned in. Make sure they're on school on time. They sit in the front of the class. They raise their hands and questions. You know, these are the type of things I think that a lot of parents push aside because they have to work. They have to take care of their families. And I get it, but having a collaboration of a mother and a father to be there responsibly, and the father takes care of the child or takes care of the family. That's something I've understood by watching movies and stuff. And yes, every family is not the, you know, storybook ending or anything like that. But I want a chance at it. Give me a chance at it. I'll make it happen. And with the partner I have, you know, Tito Ortiz now, I'm fortunate. I'm really fortunate. I have someone who has the same beliefs as I do and loves his country as much as I do, and want to make sure that we raise men to give back to society in a positive manner. And that's my job. That's what I'm doing. That's what I was put on this earth for. And if I can help others on the same, any veterans, any people in general, I answer my questions. You know, people follow me on Instagram at Tito Ortiz 1999 or Tito Ortiz on Twitter, or Tito Ortiz on social, Truth Social. I always answer questions. I always do. I've always gone out of my way to my fans to, you know, give them answers. Just life lessons that I've learned. You know, I've been through the hell of hell, and I've been through the heavens of heaven. I've seen things that most people my age have never come close to seeing. But I'm fortunate. I'm very fortunate because I can look back and I can be thankful of the things I have through the hard work I've been able to achieve for. It's important. It's really, really important that at the end of the day, I tell my children that I love you and I'm proud of you, and you know, tomorrow we'll do better. And everybody.
Yeah, and like you said earlier too, I mean, that ties in directly like what you're saying. You pick that, like that you get to choose who you want to be with in a sense. I mean, if you're saying your, you know, previous spouse was toxic there, you know, and that does weigh down on people. I'm sure a lot of people have gone through that, but once you get out of that, like you chose to get out of that, you chose, hey, I got to find something better. Cause like you said, you even acknowledge it. Like you stayed out of the house. You were just helping with your kids and training. So like even that, I'm sure just to realize like, holy crap, like I need to change that is huge. And then now you got 9 years with the woman who seems like she's just kicking ass with you, taking names, and your kids respect her. She respects your kids and all that stuff. That's kind of like the whole sense of, or I think what I want people to at least take away from what you're saying is you get to make what you have. Like this, the choices you make obviously impact your life, but you make those choices. You get to decide, hey, that guy, that girl, I love them to death. I'm going to marry them. I'm going to be with them forever. I'm going to start a family. And when it comes to kids, I get, like you're saying, like my wife and I both work, but you make time. It might seem like a lot at first, like you're thinking, oh God, you know, they want to play, they want to go brush their teeth, like little things like that. But you need to make the time, because it's not making the time is when you lead these kids end up growing up, they feel alone, and that's where that whole mental health issues type things I think happens. That starts in the home early on, especially
100%.
today. Is just you see it all the time. Like, I don't know how many times we go out to eat and the whole family's on a laptop or an iPad or a phone. There's no conversation. Like, man, ask your kid how their day was. Like, my goodness,
That's
so
one of
sad.
the huge things that I do. My children haven't had an iPhone, iPad ever. I mean, they have an Xbox, but they got to get straight A's. They got to make sure their beds are made. They got to make sure that all their dishes, because they cook, all their dishes are clean. Their clothes are folded. We wash the clothes. We put them on the bed and said, you got to put them away. Like, what do you mean? And this is my wife who's been doing this now over the last 7 years. So it's like, condition them into automatically doing it. They're not even thinking like one of them he has a little hassle doing it, but the other one's like he gets it done as quickly as possible because he wants to play games. But once again, to give him, and I learned this by watching, interviews and stuff. Who's the maker of iPhone?
That's Steve Jobs.
Jobs.
Yeah.
And he said a child under 14 should not have an iPhone. There's too much information on there for their minds at that age. It's going to make them bored. It's going to over desensitize them. And I never really understood that until I watched and I seen other kids. And once you say like at dinner and you look at all the kids who have iPhones and they're all their heads down, and it's like, that's not a family. That's not a nuclear family. That's not how a family is supposed to work. And we make sure we eat dinner every night at the table, turn off the TV, ask how their day was, talk about the day, talk about the problems we had, how can we fix it for tomorrow. And that's a true family. That's a cohesive family that's going to be successful. And like I say, it's a job being a parent. 100%. It's a job. We don't get paid for it. You know what I get paid for? When that kid grows up to be 18 and everybody respects him and gives him the best job because he's one of the smartest kids, one of the most funniest. Not even fun, have to be funny. Just very, very educated on what he is doing his task on, what his job is, what type of a man he truly is. And I'm lucky I only have 3 boys. I'm very fortunate I don't have a girl. I couldn't even imagine being a father of a girl. Having men, I'm very fortunate. But anything's possible. Like I said, you just got to be on top of it. I see a lot of mothers and they're like, oh, that's just what he does. No, that's not just what he does. It's like the kid's acting out crazy. It's like, grab him and wrangle him in the corner. And I turn my kid's face into the corner, and he put his face in the corner for an hour. He's like, "Can't pull my face off." I go, "You can do it again." He's like, "No, I promise." And it's like you turn little lessons like that, and it's like it's not like beat your kids to death. No, not to do that. Take things away. Take away their phone. Take away, TV time. Take away small things. But now all of a sudden they got to do house chores, or they're mopping the floor. They got to do things that they don't have to do every single day. And giving goals like this to a child is important because children need to be goal oriented for sure. I mean, everyone does. But at one time or another, not sure you're just gonna be a lazy person. And I don't know. I have an opportunity to raise men in the idea that I think that they'll be successful in life, and that's what I'm setting them up for success. I'm not going to coddle them. I'm not going to be overprotective to them. I'm just going to make sure they understand how life truly is ran. And being coddled and given everything, and I could give them everything. I make them work for it. Like I say, they're doing lemonade stands to earn money to buy skins on Xbox. Like, you guys got to earn the money. I'm not giving you the money. You got to earn it. And they're like, "Oh, can we wash your car?" I want, "Yeah, it's $20." Like, "That's it?" I want, "Yeah." So you'll get, like, "Okay, we'll do it." But once again, these are the type of things that I've learned through my life of how to earn money. And I always wanted to live on my own. At 18, I was out on my own. Probably shouldn't have, but I was. I couldn't be underneath another man's household. I had to be on my own. And I think that's one of the reasons why I never served in the military, because I couldn't be told what to do. I didn't like that. I like to be on my own. I like to be the person to learn from my own mistakes and make sure I correct those mistakes and just work hard. But I think I would have been a pretty damn good soldier. I'm really good at shooting. I've had a very great opportunities through my times of going and shooting with guys. Got to meet some great special force guys. So I've had some really great opportunities of what I have in my life. So I don't think I'll take everything back. I'm doing good so far. So far I got a lot more life to live, a lot more things to do. But my children are my number one right now.
Yeah, you're only 47 young. I mean, it's not old.
Literally, I feel like it.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, Tito. I really do. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was like freaking out. I was like, "There's no way he's gonna come on here." But I truly appreciate it.
Like I say, man, I'm thankful that you wear my gear. Of course, anybody can go online right now,
Oh yeah,
punishment.com.
we're
It's my
twins in right now.
Yep, I had to do something for freedom, man. Our freedoms are being taken away right now, so I was like, what can I do? Something different. You know, I've had Punishment Athletics since 1999. I've been my own entrepreneur of my business, my own owner. But we came out with these shirts, and I was like, you know what? It's done okay. It's not done super well. We're still a small company, but you know, it's important. You know, at the end of the day, I want to set up for success for my children, and hopefully, I could. I've answered a few questions to the people that were like, oh, I never knew that about Tito. Um, but at the end of the day, man, I'm a patriot. I love this country. You know, I love my family. My hard work and dedication I put in through mixed martial arts for 25 years. Hopefully, this will be my last fight. I think it will be. I don't know. We'll see how things turn out. In October, it'll be on Freedom Fight Night. Of course, people check it out, freedomfightnight.com. I just trying to work, trying to chase this American dream. I've been chasing it my whole life, and I won't stop. You know, I just try to be there for my veteran friends, be there for my family, be there for my friends and family. And it's important. It's really, really important because I don't want to lose what we have here in this country, because what's lost, we're never going to get it back. And people need to understand that. And I can imagine a lot of viewers, they understand that. But once again, this is not a Democrat versus Republican thing right now. You know, this is patriots versus you know, people trying to come in and ruin this country. And I don't want it. I don't want to be a part of it, but I'll fight. I'll fight for it. I'm all in. Boots are strapped. I'm in. I'm all in.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better. It's not a red versus blue, right versus left.
Yeah,
Oh,
this government is becoming a gang right now. It's like a gang when I was a kid, where it was blood versus Crips. I'm serious. Like,
yeah.
I grew up in that, and that's what it kind of taught me, the respect values that I've had for my elders, and you know, people in general. And people say, what do you mean by that? I mean, that's how I was raised. It was like, the older guys that I hung out with, they were like, you better respect your mom. You better not talk back to your mom. It was like, we're gonna beat your ass if not. And I was like, how do you know if I do or I don't? But it was just those things. Once again, it was like, that was a mentality that I had set, you know. And big, huge fan of the Goodfellas, huge fan of Casino. I mean, of these mafia guys, it was a respect value.
Mm-hmm.
And people say, "Oh, Tito now is a mafia guy." No, it's the mentality of just respecting the person, your elders, or the people around you, and be considerate towards them, but not talk down on them just because you can. You know, help a person out. You know, help a lady across the street. Open a door for a girl when you walk into a store. You know, say hello to somebody. This is one of the big things too. Honestly, I want to kind of touch it a little bit. People have lost almost complete social skills of saying hello. Of looking at a person going, hi, how are you? I ain't looking to have a conversation with you. I just want to say, hi, how are you? And you can say, hi, great, good to see you. Or just, hi, how are you? And that's all it has to be. Yeah, and I've been here in Huntington Beach my whole life, and I've always done that. People, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? How you doing? How you good? Hi, how are you? Now it's like I see people walk in front of my house. I'm like, hi, how are you? And they're like, put their head down and keep walking. I'm like, this is not how America used to be. I mean, it's taken 30 years for them to, you know, condition people to believe one thing this way, and that's the way you should believe. And it's wrong. People have the easy way out. And I wish, I mean, any of your viewers or anything, you want to make someone's day, look at them and go, hi, how are you? And it makes a difference, because then people feel like there's a connection, and it's important. A lot of people, I mean, a lot of girls too, if you do this, they're like, because you think you're like trying to hit on or something. No, it's like trying to be nice to a person. And once again, I've noticed that a lot over the last 5 years, that it kind of hurts my heart. I mean, it's like not even the factor that they know who I am, but just making sure that I care about that person. I may not know them, but I understand we still care. People care about each other, and it's important. That's humanity. That's how it should be.
Yeah, my dad's like notorious for that. I mean, he's been in the restaurant business since he was 17. Like, he grew up really rough too in the projects. And I mean, I always tell him, man, you're kind of, in a sense, you're the American dream. You know, you have a family, you have a house. Like, that's extremely rare. He was born in Mexico as well. So it's like the odds were not in your favor, but you've made it. I mean, shit, I'm here, which is, it's like, thank you. I always tell him thank you, you know, for everything you've done. But he's taken that like whole saying hello thing to like a level I've never seen before. We'll go out and he'll see the name tag on somebody. He'll be like, hi, Linda. Like, how's your day going? You know, it's just like,
it puts a smile on people's faces when you do like that. When you do that, it puts a smile on people's faces. You're like, wow, this person actually cares. Like, Yeah, I mean, I want to see a smile on somebody's face instead of like someone walks by, you say hi, you give them like the nod or put your head down, don't say anything. That's so rude. It's just, I don't know. That's one of my pet peeves. I know my kids go out of their way too. When people someone walk by, like, hi, how are you? The person don't say anything. You're like, good. I hope you have a great day. Because I can do that. I literally do that all the time.
That's funny. Oh man. Well, yeah, thank you again, Tito, so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, for anybody listening or watching, always go check out Punishment Athletics. The Freedom gear is out there. I've already got a compliment on this, by the way. I wore it last 2 weeks ago. I had to go emergency room, and I was walking out, and a guy in his truck was like, that's an awesome shirt. I was like, hey, thanks, man. I was like, thank you.
Go to .com.
Yeah, throwing the punch, the little tagline there, like, yeah, go Punishment. Yeah, but definitely go check it out, everybody. Punishment Athletics. I mean, just cool gear. If you're not into the shirts, there's other stuff there. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, your site got so many cool things. I know back in the day, you used to give toys. My son plays with one of your little action figures that came with it. Yeah. You have all the powers in the world to him with that toy. You're super fast, and you can jump over buildings and stuff. So it's funny.
That's cool. Imagination's amazing when you use it.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you again, Tito. And I mean, good luck going forward with your future endeavors. And I mean, we'll be rooting for you. I know my family will. We're big time Tito fans, and everything that you stand for, freedom, being a patriot, qualities that are definitely, like we've talked about today, are being lost, so thank you so much for always pushing that agenda. Like, they're still here. We're still, American values are out there. People care about them still, even if they say on the news that they're gone, they're still out there. So
yeah, I remember Obama said the American dream is no longer alive. I'm like, bullshit. I'm living proof of it. It's still alive. It's alive and thriving. It's kind of trying to be attacked right now, but it's alive. For all your veteran friends and fans that are watching on here, guys, if you'd like to go fishing, you can go to Real Warriors, REEL Warriors Foundation. Possibly get a trip. You come out fishing with me. One of my friends, Joey, who runs the business. It's a non-profit foundation that for our veterans to get them out on the water. To get them out of the house, get their minds right, and on the water is probably one of the best places to do it. And I go on all the trips. Actually, this Friday, I'll be gone for a 2.5-day trip with them. So check it out, all you veterans, realwarriorsfoundation.com. And hopefully we can help you guys out, And once again, on my Instagram, Tito Ortiz, IG, you can send me a direct message. If you guys just want someone, chat with back and forth, I have no problem with that, or my Facebook or anything. I've done a lot of all my veterans friends, because I know a lot of them out there that do need a little help. They need a little slap in the ass to get their day going, and maybe a word of advice or something that I can give forward, pay forward. I can be there for them.
Yeah, much appreciated. I mean, one little thing can help save a life and stuff like that.
Awesome.
You have a good rest of your evening.
You too, my man. Thank you. God bless, man.
Thank you.